Okay, so when you think of a lion, what comes to mind? Probably the king of the jungle, right? A single powerful ruler. But that image, it barely scratches the surface. The real story of a lion's life is less about a crown and way more about complex alliances, brutal takeovers, and a relentless high-stakes game of genetic survival. So let's just dive right into it. It's a fascinating evolutionary puzzle. I mean, think about it. Tigers, leopards, jaguars, they're all pretty much loners. So what on earth drove lions down this totally unique path of intense social cooperation? To answer that, we really need to understand the two competing forces that define their entire world. All right, so here's how we're going to break this down. First, we'll look at the foundation, which is the pride. Then we'll meet the challengers, these male coalitions. After that, we'll get into the takeover itself, which is a pretty brutal strategy. And finally, we'll talk about the ultimate prize they're all fighting for.
First up, let's talk about the bedrock of lion society. And spoiler alert, it's not the male king. It's all about the sisterhood of the pride.
So what exactly is a pride? Well, it's basically this super close-knit family unit of lionesses. We're talking sisters, daughters, aunts, and of course all their cubs. This is the stable, permanent heart of the lion world. And believe me, it is run entirely by the females. So why team up? What's the advantage? Well, it works. When they work together, they can take down massive prey, like buffalo, that a single lion couldn't handle. They also share the workload of raising and protecting the cubs. It's kind of like a communal daycare system. And because of this, they can hold on to a really valuable territory for generations. For a lioness, the pride isn't just a group, it's home for life. Okay, so that's the female's world. But where do the males fit into this whole picture? Well, their story is completely different. It's anything but stable. They're the outsiders, the constant challengers. And this right here is the fundamental problem for every single male lion. See, they're born into a pride, but they're not allowed to stay. Once they're about 2 or 3 years old, they get kicked out. They're exiled, forced to wander as nomads. So if they want any chance at all of passing on their genes, they have to figure out a way back in. And here's the thing, they can't do it alone. No way. Their solution is to form what's called a coalition. Now, unlike the permanent family-based pride, a coalition is a strategic, and often temporary, brotherhood. It's a team that forms with one single, incredibly ambitious goal in mind. So what you have are these two totally opposing forces. On one side, you've got the lifelong stability of the pride, which is all about raising cubs. And on the other side, you have the volatile temporary coalition, and they are laser-focused on one thing, a hostile takeover. They're just completely different social structures with completely opposite goals. And this is the crucial point, right here. For a male lion, teamwork isn't just a nice idea. A lone male has almost zero chance, zero, of successfully taking over a pride and getting to mate. He'll just get outcompeted, or honestly, probably killed by the males already there or by other coalitions. So cooperation isn't some friendly option. It is the only way for them to have a genetic future. And the data on this is just crystal clear. Just look at this chart. A solo male, that's the bar on the left. If he's lucky, he holds on for less than a year. But watch what happens as the team gets bigger. A coalition of 2 or 3 males, they average about 2.5 years. In a big coalition, 4 or more, they can rule for over 4 years. And what does more time mean? It means more chances to father cubs. When it comes to being a male lion, size really matters. So this brings us to the climax of the story. This is the inevitable and often very violent collision between an established pride and a challenging coalition. Yeah, you really can't think of this as just a peaceful change of leadership. It's much more like a political coup, or maybe a hostile corporate merger. The entire goal of the incoming coalition is to violently seize the pride's most valuable assets, the lionesses. And the process is, well, it's a shockingly methodical 4-step strategy. First, they scout out and identify a target pride. Step 2, they violently fight and kick out the resident males. Step 3, and this is the most chilling part, they commit infanticide. And finally, step 4, they mate with the females of the pride. Okay, we have to talk about this because this is, without a doubt, the darkest and most difficult part of lion behavior to wrap your head around. Why? Why would these new males systematically kill the cubs? It seems monstrous. But the answer isn't about malice. It's about cold, hard evolutionary logic. Okay, so this brutal act actually serves a few cold, strategic purposes. First and most obviously, it wipes out the genetic legacy of their rivals, gone. Second, and this is key, a lioness who isn't nursing a cub becomes fertile again almost immediately. We're talking weeks, not years. This kickstarts the new male's reproductive window. It also has the effect of synchronizing all the births of the new cubs, which makes them easier to protect later on. It's all about maximizing the very limited time they have in power. And this is not some rare freak event. Not at all. Studies have shown that infanticide by incoming males can account for up to a quarter, 25%, of all cub deaths. It's a fundamental, if really brutal, part of their social dynamics. So, after all of this, the violence, the strategy, the struggle, what is the ultimate prize? You might think it's a throne or a kingdom, but it's not. The entire system, all of it. The coalitions, the takeovers, even the infanticide, it all boils down to one single thing: a desperate race against time. The goal isn't kingship. It's just to father as many cubs as you possibly can before you yourself are overthrown. And this table really puts that race into perspective. Look at this. An average coalition only holds power for about 2 to 3 years. Now, factor in that a female is pregnant for about 4 months and the cubs need to wean for another 7. That window to produce offspring that can actually survive is incredibly tight. There is absolutely no time to waste. And here's the kicker. No matter how strong a coalition is, their reign is always temporary. The clock is always ticking. Somewhere out there, another, younger, stronger group of nomadic males is forming up, getting ready to launch their own takeover. The cycle is just relentless. All right, so let's tie this all together. What should you take away from this? Lion society is this fascinating duality, right? You have the stable, permanent world of the female prides, all focused on raising the young, and then you have, crashing against it, this volatile, temporary world of male coalitions, driven by this brutal but very logical strategy to win a fleeting chance at a genetic legacy. The king of the jungle, he's no king at all. He's just a temporary victor in a war that never, ever ends. And this whole thing leaves us with a really critical question, especially for the future. I mean, this complex, violent, but incredibly successful social system evolved in the huge open landscapes of Africa. But today, as lion territories are shrinking and populations are getting more and more isolated, can this ancient strategy, a strategy that relies on constant turnover and conflict, actually survive in our modern world? That's the big question.